Welcome to the dark side of Beast Rider. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be discussing what the Raiders are going to do with the seventh overall pick. We're going to go ahead and break it down brick by brick as exactly how it's going to play out, why it's going to play out that way. And we're kind of forecasting a little bit, right? We're looking ahead into the future, and a good way, I guess I would say a good way of why I'm doing this is so you guys can have some kind of foundational uh, input in regards to how I formulate my mock drafts, how I formulate the horizontal board as a comparison to a vertical board, and then you kind of mirror the two, and then kind of based on what GM's tendencies are and their biases, if they're biased toward the Power Five conference as opposed to FCS conference, and then how much that weighs into it. Also, you have to take in the dynamics of the NFL traits that different positional coaches and scouts look for on certain teams based on the schemes that are being ran and the rules of engagement that apply on the back end there. So there's a lot of different things that we can talk about. But, this is my favorite part of the year. I was on Raider Nation Radio earlier today. I really take mock drafting very, very serious. It's something that I put a lot of effort into. Been covering the NFL draft since 2000, actually 1999 to be exact. And I formulated my own mock drafts. And once I started being Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, not trying to toot my own horn, but it is what it is. That's what gave me the credibility and the confidence to go on and say, you know what? I should put out my own mock draft, because if I'm beating these guys and they're on ESPN NFL Network, why shouldn't I do it? And so from there, that's why you see here in the DOB, not every fan is a Raider fan, nor a Niner fan, nor a Steeler fan. You get fans from all different fan bases because they all want to know, what is my team going to do? Because what you do at the position you are now may not be what you do on draft day, right? Because obviously free agency plays a role and everything of that in between. So again, I apologize in advance for not hitting up live streams earlier. I had a little bit of a family emergency, posted that up on Twitter. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, you guys can do that at Beast Rider. But I'm here back in the Bay Area. That's why you see a different backdrop behind me. I mean, I'm back home in San Jose here in the Bay Area. And people wanted to know, some of you guys wanted to know, hey, where's your trophies at? Well, it's back here in the Bay Area. This is my bodybuilding shows that I won. So I have that here. I have a few in Las Vegas, but yeah, kind of like here, there. Anyways. But we're talking football today. I'm happy to discuss the NFL mock draft as it plays out. It's kind of dumb. I know dumb is a strong word, but it's kind of dumb for me to do this because, again, free agency plays a role. And obviously, we have to know who the GMs are, right? Like, for instance, the Arizona Cardinals didn't have a GM up until, a few days ago. So once they had Ossenfort coming in, Monty Ossenfort, who comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, who we're going to talk about and why I know. Okay, I don't know, but I know how he's going to be formulating his foundational core players in the fountain of youth that he tries to establish with draft capital. We're going to go ahead and talk about that. But let's go ahead and talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, because obviously this is the DOB. But then again, you have to know what the other six teams are doing in front of you. You have to know, obviously, what the other teams are doing behind you, right? And so, again, when people talk about, what this team is going to do or what that team is going to do, it's like, for you to have that basis on mocking a player based on the team's need, when there's a lot more that goes into it, and that's all I got to say about that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that, but I'm very eager to get started on this. I'm very happy to be back on the DOB. Got a lot of love and support from you guys, got a lot of text messages, got a lot of DMs. So happy to be back. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And we're just going to break it down. All right. So the Raiders, they hold the number 7th pick overall. All right. So if you look at the teams in front of them, that just goes to show you how bad the teams are, right? Let's not get it twisted. Let's go ahead and talk about that, right? So the Chicago Bears, who's the GM? All right, let's start there. Who's the GM of the Chicago Bears? Where it's Ryan Poles. Well, where does he come from, right? I already broke it down here in the DOB once he was named the GM last year, right? And I said he's going to go and build this team from the inside out. One, because he's a former offensive lineman coming out of training camp. Two, he comes with a Brett Veach tree. And we're going to talk about why I believe he's not going to go quarterback. He's going to stick with Justin Fields, because at the end of the day, when you look at the draft class that's coming in, again, just like every single season, every NFL season that comes into play, it's its own identity, right? It's its own beast. Same thing with the draft class, right? So you may be top heavy at a positional need in it's somewhere like, let's say, wide receiver. Over the course of the years, it's been wide receiver, right, on the opposite side of the football. but then maybe the next year will be edge rushers. And then you have to mirror the two. And then also on top of that, not every pick has, and not every prospect that gets picked in the first round is a grade 1A player, is a first round graded player. But yet every year 32 picks are made because you have to make the pick. You're not going to make the pick. So for instance, like, do I believe Lewis Sign was a first round pick? No, I don't. But hey, again, 32 picks were made and you have to just roll with the draft order that as it comes. You can't be like, no, I'm not gonna make a pick because he's not valued as a first round pick, but I'd take him in the second round and get him on a little bit of a cheaper rookie deal. But we don't have that fifth year option because it's not a first round pick. No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry, but not sorry. All right. Anyways, see, we're just talking about financials here. We're not even talking about the actual players. But no, Ryan Poles. All right. So Ryan Poles drafts number 1. All right. Who's coming in at number 2? Well, that's GM Nick Caserio. Where does he come from? Well, it comes from Bill Belichick coaching tree or scouting tree, whatever you want to call it, right? He comes from the tree of Bill Belichick, all right? So he's building up his best 5, just like GM Dave Ziegler is building up his best 5 here in Las Vegas. And then who's picking number 3? Oh, it's Monty Austinfort, the new GM of the Arizona Cardinals. Where does he come from? Oh, the Bill Belichick tree. So you don't think all those 2 of the top 3 GMs are going to build the team from the inside out? You're doing yourself a disservice. Let's not get it twisted. But what is going to really happen is going to start at number 4. And the reason I say that is because GM Chris Ballard, over the course of the years, had Phillip Rivers, went out and got guys like Carson Wentz, went out guys and most recently got Matt Ryan. All those 3 quarterbacks failed. Veteran quarterbacks who he thought can get these guys over the hump. Well, it doesn't really work that way. But GM Chris Ballard, hey, I think he's a great GM, made a lot of sound plays. But at the end of the day, he might be on the chopping block. Just joking. I don't think he is, but there's reports that are saying he is. I saw that and I was like, nah, I don't think so. I do believe at number 4, he needs to do something right now. Is that going to be taking a guy like Bryce Young? Well, is Bryce Young going to be available? Because let's say that GM Nick Caserio talks to Nick Saban, coming from the Bill Belichick, Nick Saban kind of ties there. And he's like, hey man, like, what do you think of Bryce Young? Oh, Bryce Young's great. Like, what? Okay. Just Bryce Young. So are you going to really take CJ Stroud, or would you rather go after a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, who you're familiar with in New England? The same exact scenario that GM Dave Ziegler is familiar with Jimmy Garoppolo. The same dynamic that Arizona Cardinals, Monty Austinfort, is familiar with Jimmy Garoppolo. So while everyone's talking about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, let's not forget about Jimmy Garoppolo. Although he gets injured a lot. All right, I covered him with the San Francisco 49ers. I know. All right. But he can manage the game. What happened when Coach Belichick drafted Mac Jones? What did he say when he drafted Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, again, you have to know the dynamics of the other 32 other NFL GMs in order to formulate your analysis on the mock drafts, right? You have to watch press conferences. You have to read transcripts. You have to talk to people in the inner circle. A lot of legwork. You can't just plug and play people based on the vertical board. Like, oh, yeah, this team needs a quarterback, so I'm going to plug the best quarterback on my board and plug him there. What if he's not a scheme fit? I don't know. I hear people talking about it all the time. I think it's ridiculous. And I see people put out these mock drafts that are just even more ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Joshua Chambers says, love your work, brother. How likely is Tom Brady to the Raiders? Hey, man, I think it's likely. I went on Raider Nation Radio. Actually, I'm not going to say I was the first one to report it. Obviously, I wasn't. But I was one of the first who said, hey, Tom Brady to the Raiders is the likely scenario. Said it here in the DOB. I said, I think it's going to happen. Now, watch me be wrong. Look, I'm not afraid to put out my beast receipts on the line. But I'm saying that Tom Brady to the Las Vegas Raiders is a likely scenario. Why? Because once you get Derek Carr out of the picture, which, by the way, people are asking me about the whole drama within the media. I'm not going to get into that. All right, that's I'm good vibes only. Hey, look, I'm staying out of it. But what I will say this, I can only talk for myself. All right. So I just want to get that out of the way because I'm getting hit up on. I was like ignoring that, like notification. No, I'm not gonna go there. Well, I will say this: getting Tom Brady does so much, and I said this on Raider Nation Radio earlier today at 1 p.m. So if you guys missed it, I was on with my man Harry Ruiz on RNR 920. All right, but check this out: if you get a guy like Tom Brady, and people say, "Oh, he's too old," hey. I'm about to turn 40. Do I look 40? Do I feel 40? No, I'm in better shape in my life than I was at 21. So age ain't nothing but a number. It's all about perspective. It's all about being mentally tough as you are physical. So stop. Secondly, the NFL, the rules today, you cannot hit the quarterback anyways. So Tom Brady can essentially play till he's 65 and get his AARP card, all right, and be done with it. You can't hit the quarterback high. You can't hit him low. Heck, did you all see the game grades that I ran on Atlanta Falcons when Tom Brady got sacked by Grady Jarrett? And there was a roughing the passer penalty when he just made a tackle? He didn't hit him high. That was a Jerome Boger play, by the way. Anyways, that's another story. But Tom Brady to the Las Vegas Raiders. I love it. Why? Talked about it on R&R today. Look at his record. Look at his Super Bowls. He's 2 years, actually 1 year. He's 1 year removed from being the NFL passing leader in touchdowns. He's 1 year removed from being the NFL leader in passing yards. He's 2 years removed from winning a Super Bowl. The reason why he struggled this year was because of his off-field drama, right? Personal happened. He couldn't compartmentalize what was going on, probably. And that's just human. He's human. I mean, come on. But more importantly than that, his offensive line was in shambles. All right. So you cannot tell me that any quarterback would have success behind the offensive. I mean, he was working with second, third stringers, probably people who just were signed off the street. And when you have an offensive line that's unstable like that, no quarterback can endure success. Why? Because if your offensive line can't generate any push and push people off their grass, then you're now being made one-dimensional. When you're being made one-dimensional, what does that do? Defenses can now pin their ears back on third downs because they know that you have to pass it on third downs. You know you can't run the ball, and then you get behind the sticks, and then what? Then it's like, oh, well, but is that Tom Brady's fault? Or is that the offensive line's fault? Because this game of football is a team sport. It's not like tennis where it's one-on-one. It's not like golf where it's one-on-one. It's a team sport. The ultimate team sport. And let's not get it twisted, though. The quarterback gets all the hype and all the praise for when they have success and when they go bad. All right? But it is what it is. I like Tom Brady. Tom Brady? Yes. Give me Tom Brady. Maybe because I'm a Bay Area kid and he just grew up down the street from me here in the Bay Area. Hey, Sarah High School, I ain't tripping. Knocked us off out of the championship. Hey, whatever. Cool. I ain't tripping. Give me Tom Brady. Give me Tom Brady. Let's have a Bay Area rooted connection with Tom Brady, Devontae Adams, and myself. Let's do it. Let's do it. Devontae from EPA, right by the IKEA down the street. Just saying. But thank you so much, Joshua Chambers, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And it means a lot. If you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and do that and send me a super chat. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the number seven pick, right? So the Raiders own the number 7 pick. The team needs that they have is quarterback, offensive tackle, offensive guard, center, defensive tackle, middle linebacker, outside linebacker, cornerback, and free safety. All right, that's like 9 positional needs. I memorized this because I covered the team. There's needs there, all right? Secondly, you need to have good depth behind that, but that's a different story. But let's just start with the starters. All right. Best bet is to trade down. Trade out of number 7. Trade the number 7th pick overall. Kill multiple birds with one stone. You have a plethora of different needs anyways. And this is the time to do it. They're in perfect prime position for a perfect trade down scenario. All right. I'm going to go ahead and break that down. The valuation versus the evaluation when running my analytics. Again, I've been doing this since 1999, 2000. Let's go ahead and break that down. Have you really, bro? Have you really? Yes. All right. We're going to talk about that. Let me just go ahead and bring up the banner on that. The valuation versus evaluation. We talk about this all the time, right? What's the valuation versus evaluation, right? So it's when you evaluate a player, what's the valuation of that player when you evaluate that player based on the valuation on where you see that guy fit, all right? So evaluating draft position based on this year's draft's cream of the crop. That's number one parameter we look at. Or I look at, I should say, we. You're in the DOB, we, all right? Now, every round 1 pick that I just stated earlier is graded a round 1 player, yet every pick has to be made in the top 32, all right? All right? So, in my estimation, this is a weak, nothing against the players, but this is a weak draft class, all right, as in years past. I mean, I'm just going to go out and say it. Beast receipts check out. I say this every time, either up or down or average. I'm not afraid to put it out there. It's weak. All right. It's weak. But let's go ahead and talk about exactly why, right? So if you look at the quarterback needy teams drafting ahead of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? You look at the Houston Texans at number 2. They might go after Bryce Young or go after a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo or somewhere there. I don't think Tom Brady wants to play in Houston. Now watch him go to Houston. I don't see that playing out, honestly. But let's say, all right, so GM Nick Caserio obviously needs a quarterback, all right? Davis Mills ain't the answer, all right? So we saw what happened there. All right, now the Colts at number 4, they also need a quarterback. Is GM Chris Ballard going to go ahead and swing for the fences again for a veteran quarterback to get them over the hump? Well, they're not. Nothing against the Indianapolis Colts. I just don't think they're not 1 or 2 players away from making a serious run, right? Like the offensive line. I mean, when the Colts came here to Allegiant Stadium, I talked to one of my guys who works for the Colts, and we were talking, and he's like, "What do you think of the offense?" Because like, I run grades, and he's like, "What do you think of our offensive line?" But he said it with a straight face. But then I was kind of like smiling. I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right." I was like, "It's bad." But the funny thing about it is they have a good nucleus, right? They have Braden Smith, they have Quentin Nelson, and I think what happened was the left tackle position. It was really manned by Anthony Costanzo over the course of the years, right? So when you don't have him, and then obviously Mark Lewinsky goes elsewhere, that really leaves a gaping hole from a veteran presence up front. Now, we can talk about who's going to come in this 2023 offseason. Obviously, if I already reported it 2 years ago, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike McGlinchey from the San Francisco 49ers, a former first-round pick, came in to the Indianapolis Colts as a blindside left tackle, even though he played on the right side with the 49ers because Trent Williams is on the left. Because of the fact he's best friends with Quentin Nelson, I think that dynamic can play out. But that remains to be seen. Maybe they move Braden Smith over to the left side. I don't know. The Auburn product, War Eagle, not him. He's a good player. I like Braden Smith. But yeah, what they're going to do, I think they're going to go and really obviously pick a quarterback. I just don't know who that quarterback, if it's going to come through a free agent acquisition or if it's going to come through trade or if it's going to come elsewhere through the draft, right? Especially at number 4, because GM Chris Ballard's not wanting to diminish the value of pick by reaching for need. He just doesn't do that. That's not what he does. All right. So Ballard, GM, if you guys, I say Ballard, but some of you guys don't know. GM Chris Ballard is the Indianapolis Colts GM. All right. So Chris Ballard, when I say Ballard, that's the Colts GM. Chris Ballard, all right, he values draft capital, just like Dave Ziegler. All the good GMs value draft. If you don't value draft capital and just like, oh, whatever, we'll just give away a first-round pick and just kind of. No, I shouldn't say that because Lesney won the Super Bowl. But, I mean, what's the last time he had a first-round pick? I think it was Jared Goff, right? Not mistaken. Anyways, I think it was Jared Goff, was it? Damn, that's a long time. But no, I mean, he won a Super Bowl, so you can't really knock him for it, right? I mean, he did. Hey, he won Super Bowl, but more times than not, you're not going to be. If you keep on doing that, you're going to be putting yourself behind the 8 ball because financially, you're putting yourself in a financial hole, right? That's why it's so important to hit on these draft picks because you can develop them from year 1 to year 2, going into year 3, and if they're first round pick, you can also extend them on that 5th year option. Now, if they're not a first round pick, then you have dibs on extending them before their rookie contract expires. But at the end of the day, again, they have to be a scheme fit, right? And so you look at guys like Nick Caserio, who comes from the Bill Belichick tree. He may target Jimmy Garoppolo or take Bryce Young at number 2. All right, they could also deal. Well, I don't think it's going to happen because Derek Carr will have to approve. But the Caserio Ziegler dynamic, could he go to Houston? You never know. I seen weirder things. We all seen weirder things in the NFL. Like, who thought DeForest Buckner would get traded right after the Super Bowl to the Indianapolis Colts? Just saying. All right. Now, what are the Seattle Seahawks going to do at number 5? Look, there's a lot of questions coming in, and we're going to go ahead and get that. Chris Cardima, thank you so much, man. He says, support my boy. Keep at it, man. Looking forward to seeing your mock draft. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate it. And hey, man, I just want everyone to know we have the DOB swag coming out. So you see this logo, it's football and fitness. There's no off season here in the DOB. But more importantly than that, I'll be posting my fitness workout videos to kind of stay up to date so you guys can kind of get in shape if you guys choose to get in shape or just there for you guys. So for inspirational, I don't know what it is. Anyways, that's what I do. That's how I get paid. So I'm going to post it. But And I like helping you guys out. Who doesn't want to be the best version of yourself? Like, I don't know anyone that if you don't want to be the best version of yourself, whatever it is, if you're the janitor, be the best janitor. If you're the librarian, be the best librarian. Like, do it better than anybody has ever done that job. That's how I was raised. Like, take pride in your work, man. There's some people who come to work don't take pride. Like, they just do their, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm checking out. It's my 9 to 5. I'm checking. No, man, this is a 24/7 job, 365. At least it is for me. I'm very passionate about what I do. I take pride in what I do, and I love what I do. Like right now, I don't have to be doing this live stream. I could be, since I'm at home in the Bay, I could be out drinking, even though I don't drink. It's funny. I go out, they're like, oh, you want your, I don't drink. But yeah, rarely do I drink. But no, thank you so much. And Chris knows this. I used to actually personal train Chris. Speaking of fitness, Chris was one of my clients here in the Bay Area, and diehard Raider fan. He was happy when I joined the Raiders, and covering the Raiders. But no, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right. So let's go ahead and get back to it. We were talking about what the Seattle Seahawks are going to do at 5, right? We talked about Ryan Poles a little bit, talked about a little bit about the Houston Texans GM Nick Caserio, Monty Austinfort, who was just named the GM, right? We're also going to talk about Rand Cathon, who also comes from the Niners, covered him with San Francisco. He was the VPOP. Now he's the Titans GM. So we're going to talk about that, taking over for John Robinson, and the list goes on and on and on. Look, I love draft. But you also have to know the dynamics of the other 32 NFL teams, whether it be running grades on film, whether it be cross-checking who's at the pro days, whether it be checking out your references and then deciphering, reading between the lines with the people you talk to, whether it be with the Buffalo Bills scouts in the AFC East or the Miami Dolphins, or there's a lot of people, man. I'm telling you right now, like, it's not easy. And no one's going to give you the answer. No one's going to be like, oh, yeah, this one. No. It's all smoke. It's up to you to kind of do the research yourself and kind of have a brain and use it. And be like, nah, man, I don't agree. I really don't think he's telling the truth. Like, he's kind of lying to me. Or, oh, maybe he's telling the truth. It's like a game of poker, man. You have your poker face on. Sometimes you're bluffing. Sometimes you're not. That's the game of life. Anyways, I talked to some people, who I work with Raiders, and what we're talking about, the quarterback situation. Say, what are the Raiders going to do at number 5? Or sorry, what are the Seattle Seahawks going to do at number 5, right? Because Raiders need a quarterback. And so I said, well, they're not going to go quarterback. And then some people laughed, I was like, oh, well, why are you laughing? Like, I don't see anything funny about that, right? So they're like, no, they're definitely going to go after a quarterback. I said, no, they're not. I respectfully disagree. You can respectfully disagree with somebody. As I respectfully disagree, I run the grades, grade every single snap. As I always say here in the DOB, grade the snap, not the box score. All right. So Smith led the, and just get it on. I remember that. Smith led the NFL in completion percentage. Did you guys know that? He did. Okay, and it wasn't just captain checkdown, all right? So, like, that's another thing when you look at evaluations from a scouting process, you don't want to grade the box score, right? Oh, this guy had a 78% complete. I was like, yeah, but it was a check down to the run back coming out of the flats like 9 times out of 10. Like, yeah, if you can't get like a 78, 80% completion percentage throwing in the flat, you probably shouldn't be in the NFL. No, but Geno Smith is a good game manager. That's what he does. He manages the game. What did Bill Belichick say about Jimmy Garoppolo? That's why he drafted him, right? He's a good game manager, doesn't turn the ball over, right? Does all the right things. He's very smart, Same exact thing, right? So Pete Carroll and obviously John Schneider. Oh, sorry. For those who don't, John Schneider's the GM of the Seahawks, so back it up a little bit. All right, so Smith led the NFL with a 69.8% completion percentage. He also broke the Seattle Seahawks franchise record with 4,282 passing yards. All right, 4,282, breaking Russell Wilson, who, by the way, where is he off to? Denver Broncos in the AFC West. All right, so he set the single season franchise record, had a quarterback passer rating of over 100. And you're not going to resign or extend this guy? And don't take my word for it. Pete Carroll already went on a record and said, hey, look, we want to resign this guy. And again, you have to decipher between the lines because I could say I want to resign everyone too. Like, yeah, this is you get you get to resign. You like Oprah, you get to resign. You get to. It's not how it works, bro. But I'm just saying, Geno Smith is gonna get resigned. Now watch him not get resigned. I'm just saying, I'm keeping it 100 based on my analytics with John Schneider and how he does business, especially with the draft class that's coming out and the talent that he has to work with the DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Obviously, you have Abram Lucas there, and you also have some other guys on the back end. You just drafted Charles Cross at number 9, and you have Damian Lewis there still. You have a strong foundational core on the offensive line there, and you have Noah Fant, who you got through the trade with Russell. I mean, come on. I think they're going to go defense at number 5. Why? Because they rank dead last in run defense, if I'm not mistaken. 32nd in the NFL. Analytics don't lie. I'm a very analytical guy. Just ask Eric Wright, former 49er. Me and him got into it in regards to the Seattle Seahawks. The year that Seattle Seahawks lost to the 49ers. I said, oh, no, the Seahawks are the same. They ain't the same, bro. Wanted to come back. Hey, I said, let's hop back. He didn't want to come back. So we should circle back. Crickets. Anyways, I'm just saying. All right. So now the Seahawks are going to go after a guy by the name of, I'm just going to go out and say it. All right. So at number 6, all right, what's going to happen at number 6, right? So Detroit Lions at number 6, what are they going to do? There's a lot of different things that they can do. They can go on there's a lot of different things they can do. But more importantly, let's go ahead and talk about, again, in order for us to really talk about what the Raiders are going to do at number 7, we have to know the dynamics of what other teams are going to do. Look, when the mock draft comes out, it's just not like you're looking at someone's freaking vertical board. Oh, yeah. Will Levis. Yeah, let's just plug him. He's the 3rd best quarterback. And yeah, I think he's, yeah. So let's just plug him here. Yeah, that seems about right. What if he ain't a scheme fit, bro? Let's face it. I don't think he passed for over 300 yards against a real, I don't know, like top-ranked defense this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But again, stats don't tell the whole story, right? Going through your progressions, making proper reads. I mean, if you're playing with wide receivers who can't catch the ball, let alone catch a flu. Just saying. You got to watch the film. All right. But getting back to it, let's go ahead and talk about this, right? So what we're talking about right now is evaluation versus evaluation on the picks. All right. The valuation versus evaluation on the picks. You know, Ryan Poles, I think he's likely going to go and target Jalen Carter. All right. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but I really do believe he's going to target Jalen Carter. Why? Because you look at what Justin Fields has done. And people who say Justin Fields is, no, I love Justin Fields. I shouldn't say love. Love is a strong word. I like Justin Fields. All right. Again, in order to know what you have or don't have, you have to give and look at what Justin Fields did. He may not be like the most accurate quarterback. He may be a little bit, but you know what? He's still going through a learning curve right now. Like, you can't expect him to get it right away. Like, he's a quarterback. It's the hardest position in the NFL. Like, stop. Just stop. All right. Just stop. We should all just stop. All right. But getting back to the Chicago Bears, I think they're going to roll with Justin Fields. That's why I don't think they're going to go number 1. In fact, GM Ryan Poles comes from the Brett Veach tree in Kansas City. He might trade back altogether for a quarterback needy team that wants to trade up number 1 and catapult a team like the Houston Texans, who may need a quarterback if they do nothing in free agency. If they do nothing in free agency, you know damn well they're in prime position to get the top quarterback off their board if GM Ryan Poles goes BPA over need. And if you're a smart GM, you're always going to go BPA over need. Why? I keep on saying this year in and year out. Anytime you reach for need to diminish the value of the pick, but when you base it on the horizontal board versus the vertical board, then you mirror the two, then you can kind of decipher between the two based on the different tiers that you see on the positional needs of what your team needs based on who you project to be around when the draft is all said and done, because free agency already played the role, and now you're looking to sign those undrafted rookie free agents. Oh my gosh, I'm saying, whew, let me catch my breath. But we have to know what these teams in front are doing. Like, you You just can't. And we don't know that until the draft, till the free agency rolls around, right? Because my mock drafts, if you guys have been following me over the years, I run 3 mock drafts, one right around the Super Bowl, one after free agency happens, and then one final mock draft before the day or two before the draft, because that's where I get my strongest intel. Then I kind of formulate my own analysis, because let me tell you, no one's going to give you the answer. Oh yeah, we're going to draft this guy. No. But if you watch film, you can do the legwork yourself because you have a brain. And if you know what to look for. For this reason, I think the Chicago Bears either trade down or pick Jalen Carter number 1. Why? Because he likes to build teams from the inside out, not the outside in. All right? And we already talked about how he came from the Brett Veach tree, coming out of Kansas City. Who does Kansas City have? Oh, that's right. They have 3-technique tackle Chris Jones. Remember the experiment failed when he was playing defensive end last year? Then they had to kick him back inside. Well, you wouldn't know that unless you were in the grades, right? And he's a monster on the interior. Top 5 interior rusher in my grading system. He does give a lot up and run support, which is why he didn't get my first team All-Pro vote for PFWA this year or the previous 2 years. That was Aaron Donald and Cam Hayward the last 2 years. But from a defensive tackle standpoint, on the interior, give me Quinnen Williams, New York Jets. Very transparent. Roll Tide roll. All right? Give me Quinnen Williams and give me defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons out of Tennessee. And I said, because obviously you guys know, me and Saleh get along, right? With the San Francisco 49ers. And what I say, once Saleh was named New York Jets head coach, I said, one guy who's going to freaking ball out of control in that wide 9 scheme is Quinnen Williams. Beast receipt checks out. So, getting back to Jalen Carter, I think he might be the answer. Or they can trade down, stockpile more picks because they have a plethora of different needs. Look, they traded for Chase Claypool. Now, I like Chase Claypool's upside. I got to interview him coming out of the draft. Actually, I interviewed his coach as well when I covered the Steelers. But look, Chase Claypool has a lot of talent, right? He had a solid rookie season. But then it's kind of like you never know which Claypool you're going to get, right? Makes these nice catches, acrobatic catches, has good body control, but then other times he just drops mental lapses, right? Like on easy balls. So it's like, what's going on? Now, you look at that Bears wide receiver position and you say, yeah, well, they have Darnell Mooney, who I absolutely love. I love Darnell Mooney. He's a speedster, can find the soft spots in zone coverage, get open. That's what they said bye-bye to Allen Robinson. Now, Allen Robinson is a bigger receiver, obviously. But I think when you look at it for what it really is and what GM Ryan Poles is actually trying to do, he's trying to establish the draft capital luxury of getting these younger players in on rookie deals and then complementing the necessary role pieces in free agency. You would otherwise know that. I got the numbers. I know who was out there. I know who they targeted. Look, I was the one that said that Akeem Hicks wasn't going to be brought back. I thought they were going to bring back homegrown talent Bilal Nichols, but he wasn't even brought back because he's not a Poles guy anyways. And one man's treasure, there's no man's treasure. Now we got Bilal Nichols in Las Vegas. Akeem Hicks, I knew he was going to be gone. He's kind of like damaged goods at this point, right? Later on in his career. So Ryan Poles, you can kind of see the dynamic of what he's working with. Shipped off Khalil Mack. I mean, you're talking about just the defensive front 7 alone. We're not even talking about the offensive side of the football with Tevin Jenkins, first-round pick, who kind of underperformed, then kind of hot and cold, right? We're not talking about David Montgomery, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year with Khalil Herbert. Are they going to go after a running back, right? If they trade back in the 5-6 range, because you know dang well, right? We know dang well what the Detroit Lions have a need for. Yeah, they drafted DeAndre Swift out of Georgia a couple years back. But he ain't getting it done, bro. So why not go after a guy like Bijan Robinson? Is that say Bijan Robinson, or I don't know how to pronounce the name. I think it's Bijan Robinson out of Texas. Why not go after him? But you're going to be fighting for his services because maybe the Detroit Lions, GM Brad Holmes, may get his guy. Maybe he's like, you know what? We need to give Jared Goff something to work with. You never know. You never know in this show what you're going to get. All you know is you're going to get 32 pieces of analysis, and we're not even talking about the 7th overall pick yet. We're just talking about Ryan Poles right now and what he's going to do at number 1, keeping Justin Fields. I think he's going to keep Justin Fields. If you guys followed me on draft 2 years ago, when Justin Fields was drafted, what did I say? I broke down the top 5 quarterbacks. Right? It's all up on YouTube. Can't say I didn't say or did say. From Mandalay Bay, right here in the Bay Area, from Mandalay Bay, they had me on just hours before the draft. They asked me, what's the one team that's going to make a splash? I said it's going to be GM Ryan Pace. At the time, it's now Ryan Poles. Then it's going to be Ryan Sakamoto. I'm joking. They must have a thing with the Ryans. But I said, look, Ryan Pace is going to give up a lot. And he's going to trade up for a quarterback. I said 1, 2, and 3. I called it out. I said Trevor Lawrence going to go 1, Jacksonville. Zach Wilson going to go 2 with the Jets. Trey Lance is going to go number 3. Oh, Trey Lance. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Trey Lance in 3. Oh, no, everyone's saying Mac Jones. Look, I'm saying Trey Lance, bro. At number 4 and 5, that's where it's going to get dicey, right? I said, you know what? I said the New England Patriots aren't going to trade up. Most likely they're going to trade back, if anything, or stay pat, take Mac Jones. They did. The one team that's going to make a splash, which I said was going to be Ryan Pace, and he did, number 11. That's 5 things that happened. And everyone wanted to know how those 5 quarterback dominoes were going to fall. You made some money if you freaking telling you. I know people made money because they were like, oh, thanks. I'm like, did I see any of that? Nope. But you can send me a super chat. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Daniel Kim. He says, it's time to build a beast of a team. Raiders check the receipts. Beast draft picks. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. And look, I hit on the last five defensive rookie of the year selections. I hit them all 5. So I'm hot right now. I'm on fire. Now watch me be wrong in my 6th. But hey, 5 for 5 last 5 years. It's not bad, right? This is before games that were played, by the way. This is me just running grades and how I see a scheme fit playing based on the defensive coordinator, how they like to do things. Again, you have to watch a lot of film. You have to watch like 50, 60 hours of film a week. That's on top of coming on for hours doing a live stream or writing an article that takes 2 to 3 hours to write and gather your thoughts and then formulate the research and then coming up. It's a lot of time. I don't like just hopping on a live stream talking about nonsense. Oh, yeah, like, oh, no, the 7th pick. Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah. Like, this is really good substance stuff that you're getting. I'm just saying. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. What you choose to do with those 24 hours is what you choose to do with those 24 hours. I choose to just grind it out, put in the work, put my head down, and just grind. Be the best version of myself. And everything I do, would it be lifting weights, would it be bodybuilding, would it be a beat writer covering the Las Vegas Raiders, whatever it is. Do it to the best of your ability. That's all I'm saying. But now, let's go ahead and talk about this, right? So Justin Fields, I think is going to stay. This is how I see the first 6 picks playing out, all right? This is how, as the draft board currently stands and free agency still has to take its place, so obviously this is going to change. This is not set in stone. We are sitting here on January 19th for Crying Out Loud. The season ain't even over yet, all right? And every year, I do my 32 NFL teams, top 3 surprise cuts, and then that is going to, see how I'm doing this? I'm kind of setting out some teasers for you. Those beast receipts check out on those too. Like Hakeem Hicks being, oh man, like they're not going to just let him walk. They're going to let him walk. But now every year the surprise cuts because the salary cap plays a role. No longer are the days in the early 90s with Eddie DeBartolo where you can just buy players and just win a Super Bowl. Now you can trade draft capital. I mean, you see Les Snead do it. Oh yeah, we'll give you 4 first-round picks for I'm joking. Hey, it worked. I'm not hating, man. It worked. They won a Super Bowl. So if I was Les Snead, I'd be like, laugh all you want, bro, because we won the Super Bowl. But odds are it doesn't always work that way. Anyways, this is how I see the first plethora of picks playing out before the Raiders are on the clock. I see Jalen Carter going to the Chicago Bears out of Georgia, right? I have Bryce Young going to the Houston Texans at number 2, barring GM Nick Caserio doesn't pull the trigger on Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not going to say Tom Brady. I don't think Tom Brady will be there. Derek Carr, I don't know. But, barring anything in free agency or anything like that, all right? Will Anderson, I think he's going to go to number 3. I think Monty Ossenfort, coming from the Bill Belichick tree, is going to do his due diligence and say, let's take the best player available, being coached up at a really well-known program that we all have ties to, Roll Tide Roll, and let's get the best player available on our board, let alone the entire draft. So if he was to get Will Anderson, he'd be licking his chops. I don't think he's going to trade out of that spot. One, because J.J. Watt is retiring, and although they don't play the same positions, that's still considered an edge need, right? 3-4-4-3 don't matter. Scheme diverse, Will Anderson is going to do whatever it takes to get the job done because he sets the gold standard. How do I know this? Have you seen his interviews? I did. In fact, the last week, I've been watching all Will Anderson interviews. What questions are asked? How does he answer them? We know what he can do on the field. I want to know what he does off the field. That's what scouts are doing. They want to know how does this guy, what makes this guy tick? Like, look, we can see all we want on film. Great player. Well, maybe some scouts are horrible at their jobs in doing that. Yes. I'm just going to say it. That's why teams draft poorly every year. But majority of scouts are pretty dang good. They put in a lot of hard work. They're traveling a lot, right? Away from their families half the year. I'm telling you, a lot of the legwork has already been done. That's why when people say, "Oh man, like they should have drafted this guy," and then that guy doesn't pan, it's like, yeah, well, maybe he wasn't a scheme fit. But Will Anderson is a different type of beast, guys. He's scheme diverse. He can play in a 3-4 base as a 2-point stance, edge rusher, weak side linebacker, or he can line up in a 4-3 base as an outside linebacker, weak side linebacker. It don't matter. Or 4-3 defensive end, depending on how you want to play it, because we all see Micah Parsons nowadays, right? He's different. So is Will Anderson on a Micah Parsons? I wouldn't go as far as that because I think Micah Parsons is a little bit better in coverage. But when you talk about the wiggle, lateral agility, the conversion of speed to power, and the football IQ to play multiple positions on the football field, being a chess piece for your defense, yes, give me Will Anderson, Monty Ossenfort would say. So that's why I have him pegged at number 3. Now you look at number 4, GM Chris Ballard. If you look at what his draft history has done, let's just go back. Let me look at the analytics on that. And again, I've been doing this for a while. So since he became the GM back in 2017, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I got to go back here. But let's just go ahead and look at what he does. It's crazy. I'm telling you, I take this very serious. All right. So what GM Chris Ballard wants in his players, right? Character, work ethic, toughness, and passion for the game, right? He's traded down with his own first-round pick in 2 of his 6 drafts, yielding 5 second-round picks. So he likes second-round picks. He likes draft capital. We talked about this. How do I know this? It's right here. All right. 3 of those first-round picks, he drafted 3 players. 2 of those first-round picks came out of the Big Ten. So if I'm rolling and looking at this, I'm saying, hey, look, he likes Power 5 guys. But then again, you look at the independent guy that he got out of Notre Dame. The only one was Quentin Nelson, who ended up being an All-Pro. That's the only exception. But he drafted Malik Hooker out of the Ohio State University. He also drafted Kwity Paye out of Michigan. And so there you have it. I have a funny Kwity Paye story. Tom Pelissero was on NFL Network 2 years ago. And he was like, oh, the Colts don't have an edge rusher. And I was like, oh, meet DeForest, or a pass rusher. I was like, oh, meet DeForest Buckner. And then DeForest Buckner retweets me and says, that's disrespectful. And Tom Pelissero hops back on and says, oh, I didn't mean it like that, and I kind of remember, if you guys have missed that was like a funny thing around training camp time. You know how NFL Network does that training camp with all 32 teams and stuff. And so, yeah, NFL Network was NFL Network, Tom Pelissero, myself, and DeForest Buckner we had a little thread going on. I was like, oh, I have to meet DeForest Buckner. And I put the GIF of DeForest Buckner doing the shovel. Anyways, yeah, that's how I see it. That's how I see it playing out. That's how I see it playing out as far as the Colts. I think they're going to go after, especially at number 4, I think they're going to go after Peter Skoronski as it currently stands. Now, they might go after Mike McGlinchey, but I think Peter Skoronski, right? He's a Big Ten guy, Northwestern. Why not? That'll be 3 out of 4. That's 75% hit rate on Big Ten products. Now, it could be by coincidence, right? So Does he favor Power 5 conferences? Well, then you have to look at the positional needs of the draft history outside of round one and see what kind of type of players that he looks for, not just based on height, weight, speed, but what NFL traits you look for. You have to watch game film for that. Like, no one's going to give you the answers. You can't just Google search and be like, because everyone has their own opinion on stuff. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's why it's just like, it's kind of annoying when people put up, oh, they're going to plug this. It's like, okay, no. Seattle Seahawks. All right, what are they going to do at number 5? I think they can go after Tyree Wilson, right? I think they're going to go after a guy by the name of Tyree Wilson. And there's a number of different reasons why I think they're going to go after Tyree Wilson at number 5. All right, one, Seahawks love Big 12 products, drafting Big 12 products in the first round, all right? John Schneider is notorious for doing it. And based on my analytics, he has a 56% hit rate on hitting first-round talent coming out of the Big 10. All right, 5 out of 9. All right, the last one to do it came out of the same college, Texas Tech, by the name of Jordan Brooks, which is why Bobby Wagner was probably no longer on the team. Well, he was probably out on the outside looking in anyways. But, Jordan Brooks, last one, also come out. So that's why I said, Tyree Wilson, they need an edge rusher. They drafted guys like LJ Collier in the past. They drafted guys previously in the past. They also traded Frank Clark. You guys remember? They traded Frank Clark too. So I think when you can kind of see where his head is at based on the analytics, and then you double down on those gains and see exactly how he's going to play this draft in the upcoming draft. If he does nothing in free agency, I can honestly say that John Schneider may go Tyree Wilson. And let's just not dating back, all right, to when he became GM, all right? He drafted Russell Okung coming out of Oklahoma State, Big 12. He drafted Earl Thomas out of the Texas, Big 12. He drafted Jermaine Ifedi. You guys remember him? I don't either. I'm joking. I do remember him. Horrible offensive lineman. Drafted him out of the Big 12, and he was a reach, my estimation. They traded down for him out of Texas, he came out of Texas A&M, SEC, but they drafted Bruce Irvin out of the Big 12, out of West Virginia at the time, right? They were in LJ Collier, who I just mentioned, out of Texas Tech, or out of TCU, and then Jordan Brooks out of Texas Tech. So now you have Tyree Wilson coming in the picture. He could be lucky number 6. All right. Thank you so much, Daniel Kim, for the super chat. It's time to build a beast of a team. Raiders, check the receipts. Beast draft picks. All right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and keep this truck moving. All right. Hey, we ain't stopping. So the question remains to be seen. All right. If all goes well, right, and you see right here on the ticker how it all playing out. Seahawks go after Tyree Wilson. The Lions go after Bijan Robinson. Based on how the draft board currently stands, I'm pretty sure the Lions are going to pick someone up in free agency for a running back. It's just kind of like, I can see that. But Brad Holmes will do that. But the way it stands, I mean, he can go after David Montgomery. Why not? But let's go ahead and talk about it. Right? So now it comes down to where we're at. What are the Raiders going to do at number 7? Right? What are the Raiders going to do at number 7? All right, here we go. Now we're talking. They can either sign Tom Brady, right? They can sign Jimmy Garoppolo or trade for Aaron Rodgers, right? Those are 3 scenarios that can possibly play itself out. And I talked about this earlier because you're going to have to give Devontae Adams a reason for losing his best friend, Derek Carr, right? Like, you're going to have to give him a reason to want to stay in Las Vegas. Even though he wants to stay in Las Vegas, he wants to be closer to home. I get it, right? And by the way, Devontae Adams got my first team All-Pro vote for PFWA, just like Max Crosby did, just like Josh Jacobs did. So hopefully all those 3 players get in because they got my vote here in the PFWA, just being very transparent. So we had to get our votes in by yesterday, although they extended the voting process for our on-field awards. But no, give it to Josh Jacobs. Give it to Devontae Adams. Give it to Max Crosby of all. How is Max Crosby not a first-team All-Pro? Now, it's funny how people are saying, oh, no, he's not a. Like, dude, what are you talking? Max Crosby is arguably the best edge defender in the entire NFL outside of Nick Bosa. I'm just saying this year, right? And to be quite honest with you, I would say through the first half of the season, he was actually better than Nick Bosa because Nick Bosa was injured for a couple games, if memory serves me right. But hey, it is what it is. Max Crosby, just saying, you got my vote, bro. That's all I gotta say. Max Crosby got my vote. That was the first thing I went to. I was like, scroll. Max Crosby. Cha-ching. Anyways, getting back to what the Raiders are going to do at number 7. Those are the 3 options, right? You can either sign Tom Brady, you can sign Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 guys who are very familiar with the offense, which is why I wrote that article on Jarrett Stidham last year, right? And you can also trade for Aaron Rodgers, who also is a seasoned veteran, so he can pick up the system fairly quickly. It's Aaron Rodgers. Why can't he? But if they stay at number 7, right, which is a strong possibility too, maybe they don't want to move off the spot. Maybe they highly have on their horizontal board Paris Johnson Jr. as a highly rated player over Peter Skoronski on both the vertical and the horizontal board. And they're saying, hey, look, we need an offensive tackle to command the right side. We have Colton Middle on the left side. Let's get an anchor for him, for whoever our quarterback is, whether it be Tom Brady or someone else. And let's go after Paris Johnson Jr. out of the Big Ten from The Ohio State University, right? But the more likely trade scenario I can see GM Dave Ziegler playing out is a trade down, right? I think that's a more likely scenario because you have 9 positional needs and you kill multiple birds with one stone by having more darts at the board. Anytime you have more darts at the board, you're increasing your chances analytically on hitting on a prospect. Because anyone who also says this, oh, it's a crapshoot, like you never know. Like, no, it's not. It's not a crapshoot. That's why you get paid millions of dollars to pick good players. Like, that's your job. Like, you get paid to do a job. It's not a crapshoot. If it was a crapshoot, then everyone would be doing it blind. Let's just play Texas Hold'em blind, guys, and just all in, because it's a crapshoot. Might as well just go to the craps table. Let's just play the field. It's a crapshoot. That's a lazy way of saying I suck at my job. It's a crapshoot, but it's a crapshoot. No, man, it's not a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. No, but you killed multiple birds with one stone by trading down, right? Think of a team who will try and trade up now, right? Trade up for a quarterback. Not which teams behind them actually have a need for a quarterback, but what GMs will actually pull the trigger. Again, it's the GM dynamic of looking at the analytics, right? Based on what's out there in free agency at the time, based on what they actually did at the time, and then based on how you saw that player fitting into that scheme on why or why not they went that route. This is not scouting. This is what you call pro player personnel. So now I'm putting on my pro player personnel side, all right, and being the VPOP of the DOB, Vice President of Player Personnel with the Dark Side of Beast Rider, and letting you guys know, look, there's multiple hats that a GM has to wear. That's why he delegates a lot of the work, because you can't be at 10 places at once. It's impossible. You have to trust your scouting department. You have to trust everyone on board to do their job and do their due diligence to where there's no drop off in production. And you can rely on their analysis. All right. But here in the DOB, I don't have that option. So I'm a one-man show. So here we go. All right. All right. So who's picking behind them, right? Remember the Falcons under GM Terry Fontenot, right, is on the board 1 pick later, right? He's on the board 1 pick later. All right. So at number 8. He vows he doesn't have a draft need. He vows he doesn't draft for need, but then again, he does need a quarterback. So if CJ Stroud's on the board, are they going to go after a guy like CJ Stroud if the Las Vegas Raiders pass on one? Or are they going to hit the smoke screen and be like, oh yeah, we're all in on CJ Stroud. Let's bring him in for a pre-draft visit. Let's give him a 15-minute combine interview. Let's send some business coaches. Let's work him out. Oh yeah, they're really high on CJ Stroud. This is what you're going to hear, right? Because if you look at the mock drafts, if I'm a GM, I would throw so much smoke if I was GM Terry Fontenot, because whether or not I'm interested in CJ Stroud or not, I'm not going to show you my cards. But what I will do is, if I'm not interested in him, I'm going to show a strong hand that I am interested in him. I'll send scouts that I otherwise wouldn't send and be like, yeah, or positional coaches be like, hey, look, yeah, we're really interested in this guy. We worked him out. Now you're raising the stakes to the other teams that want a CJ Stroud. If Bryce Young goes number 2 to the Houston Texans and say, hey, look, we're in prime position. So if you don't want CJ Stroud, or if you do want CJ Stroud, you better make a move with us. But then the Raiders can look at this, be like, oh, we could do the same team. Like, maybe we want CJ Stroud. But then again, their cards will be handcuffed at the time, because if they go after Tom Brady, they're not going to draft a guy like CJ Stroud or Will Levis. Now watch them do that at number 7. No, I don't see them doing that, because if you go after a guy like Tom Brady or a seasoned veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo, you're not going to draft a guy at 7 when your Super Bowl window is now. Just doesn't make sense. Or 2 to 3 year outlook, right? So So I think you're showing your cards a little bit there. So ultimately, again, this is what I do. This is how we do it, right? So you have to look at the valuation versus evaluation on prospecting players and seeing the valuation of that player, right? And how it makes sense into the grand scheme of things where it comes to pro player personnel and the scouting side, and then marrying the two together and then formulating that analysis when it comes to my mock draft. All right. So a lot of research goes into this, guys. It's not as simple and clear cut as one would think, as plugging in players based on the vertical board or big board, right? You can't just plug. That just irritate. I can't just every year I see it. It's like, well, I'm not going to say anything, but it's kind of dumb doing that. All right. Valuation versus evaluation. Let's go ahead and talk about this. All right. Going back to the valuation and evaluation of making such a move of a trade down, right? So you look at the Panthers, the Titans, the Texans, and the Jets all have a need for a quarterback. Surely some of those teams will make a trade through, will fill the need through trade or signing an unrestricted free agent. You know it's going to happen. Every year it happens, right? And then that's when the dominoes start to fall. And you can say, oh, well, are they going to go? Well, they got a quarterback, but some teams may double down on their gains. They may use the shotgun approach, as I always like to say on draft time. Shotgun approach is when you feel the same need with multiple picks, because again, more darts on the same positional need, odds are you're increasing your chances of hitting at least on one of those two things, right? One of those two players. But the need for one of these teams will surely be evident, right? Once everything plays out in free agency. That's why I'm telling you, I don't do my mock draft right now because I think it's dumb. So what's the asking? But I'm doing it because I'm dumb. No, because I wanted to give you guys again, as we talk about peeling back layers of the onion to really get to the core, I want you guys to understand the dynamics of how I do things. It's not as simple as just plug and play. All right. So what's the asking price to move up to number 7, right? Well, when I run my analytics, again, been doing this since 99, 2000, right? And but if you like this, by the way, if you like what I'm saying, you guys been watching for how long now? 1 hour. We've been on this for 1 hour and 55 seconds. I thought it was only like 30 minutes. I'm having so much fun. Give this video a thumbs up. All right. There's 41 of you guys watching. Give it a thumbs up, like, comment, and engage on this platform. That's what we want in the DOB. And for everyone who does that, also share this video on all your social media platforms. It will be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, because we're trying to grow the DOB family. And again, the bigger we get, the bigger the prizes. You guys know what we do on the community page. Daniel Kim here was our DOB giveaway winner, along with on Twitter, Brandon reached out to me. He wanted his daughters wanted me to sign some stuff for him for his daughters, because his daughters were trying to get my attention. I was too busy taking videos of other people getting autographs. But then I guess they were yelling and like, oh man, so he shot me a DM and say, we wanted your autograph and we're coming from Idaho. So I felt really bad. Obviously, we don't know the next time we're going to meet up again. Obviously, I think they're coming back next year. They're diehard, by the way. Anyways, so I sent them a nice care package to them as well. So again, it's all about giving back to you guys. Without you guys, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. And I really, truly mean that. Like in the off season, like for instance, like that's why I post these workout videos. I don't have to do it, right? Because I'm in my own grind, right? Like I don't have to do it, but I do it all for you guys because you guys want to, again, be the best version of yourself. How am I going to be the best version of myself if I and play and say be the best version of yourself if I'm not doing the same, right? So it's like that's to be contradictory. Like, yeah, okay, you say the right things, but you don't actually do the right things. Like, nah, man, actions speak louder than words ever will. I always say that, and I always believe that. So that's one thing about me. Talk is cheap, so put your money where your mouth is, right? That's why you see that barbell. Football and fitness is what we do. And we're coming up with DOB swag. I love it. Our DOB swag is top quality, made and designed in the US. So again, if you guys follow us for Bay Rooted, that's the other business that I have, Bay Rooted LLC. Obviously, people wear our stuff, and you guys may know a few celebrities that wear it. But anyways, outside of that, cool story. The same material that we use on Bay Area Rooted, on my Bay Area Rooted products and merch is the same material that we use here in the DOB. So I'm really excited, actually, to make one pullover sweatshirt. The time frame has been a little bit longer than I anticipated because I am attention to detail. Like I am that guy that wants everything. If there's like one little sliver on the logo that's messed up, I will be like, no, return. I want it to be perfect. People may look at me and be like, oh, dude, this guy's a douchebag. Like this guy. No, I'm just a perfectionist, dude. Like I expect perfection. Like that's what I want. I pay for something. I want something. Like the best quality. If I'm going to pay $35 for a patch, which is what it costs, $35 for a patch to have one patch made. We're not getting screen print. We're doing patchwork. To get one patch made costs $35. And they do a really good job, by the way. That's why I went to them. I was recommended by them through a family friend. Also, some people who worked with the Raiders recommended them. Look, they do a really good job. All right, so I'm really excited from the DOB swag that's coming out. It's expensive stuff. But again, we're running giveaways for those. But then also you can purchase those so you guys all help me out, right? So with the super chats and stuff. So I want to do some stuff for you. So we're gonna give away some of these t-shirts, beanies, hats, and then unisex pullover hoodies, which are like, they're gonna be. I'm telling you right now, I probably like cop 5 of them, just like wear them. You know, it's gonna be comfortable. Anyway, made and designed in the U.S. right here, specifically Las Vegas. All right, so we have all of these things to talk about. We're going to talk about the Raiders right now. All right, so again, since 2011, we're just dropping some knowledge here. There's been 8 draft day trades with 3 GMs targeting wide receivers and trading up to the 6 to 9 range. Right? Let me repeat that. Since 2011, there have been 8 draft day trades targeting a player. 3 of those coming from the wide receiver position, right? Only 3 of those 8 players that these GMs targeted since 2011, trading up to the 6 to 9 range, were a boom prospect, all right? We talk about boom or bust prospect. That's kind of like the lingo that Mel Kiper likes to use, so we're going to stick to it. Boom or bust. Well, you're only booming less than 50% with the boom. Those players being wide receiver Julio Jones, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, and offensive tackle Jack Conklin, who I wanted the Raiders to try and target in free agency before Andrew Berry said, no, Beast Rider. We're going to extend him midway through the season so he doesn't hit the free agent market. Oh, there goes my pro player personnel hat down the drain. That was Jack Conklin. I would have liked Jack Conklin playing on the right side. Would have been a perfect fit against Colton Miller on the left side. But no, he sticks with Jedrick Wills from Roll Tide Roll, Alabama, and Jack Conklin on the right side. Anyways, those are the 3 guys. And if you look at the valuation versus evaluation of getting those players, both Julio Jones and Jalen Waddle came at the expense of giving up multiple round 1 picks. And in that 6 to 9 range, valuation is typically a round 1 pick, round 2 pick, and round 3 pick, or a round 1 pick and multiple round 2 picks. So if you're looking at it, you're looking at this as a blueprint, GM Dave Ziegler, and you're saying, "Hey man, I saw Beast Rider's YouTube channel, and this is the analytics that he found out." Right? Again, a lot of research goes into this, man. I'm telling you, draft is my favorite part of the year. I'm telling you. You guys think I'm good at covering silver and black on the day-to-day grind. You have no idea how the mock drafts come out. If they were to trade back to number 9, right? Let's say they were to trade back to the number 9 position, moving back 2 spots. How would that play out, right? If they trade back to number 9, right? That would be the Carolina Panthers, right? So if they trade back to the Carolina Panthers at number 9, how does that look out? What does that look like? Well, we're going to break it down. All right, you trade back to number 9 scenario. You have to look at the blueprint of what happened back in 2018. What happened in 2018? Let's come on. If you're on the clock and you're looking to trade back to your spot at number 7, let's look at 2018. What happened in 2018? Well, if you guys remember, back in 2018, the Bills gave up a lot. They gave up a lot. They gave up their first round pick, number 12. So they're moving back 3 spots, right? That's 3 spots, 9 to 12, and multiple round 2 picks for the draft rights to go ahead and get Josh Allen at number 7, right? So let me repeat that. To move up just 3 spots from number 12, sorry, not 3 spots, 5 spots to move up from 12 to 7, they gave up number 12, and they gave up multiple second round picks to draft quarterback Josh Allen at number 7. But if they trade back to the number 9 scenario from 7 to 9, are they going to get that type of draft capital? I think yes, because why? In that same entire draft class, you're getting a tier, not the top rated quarterback in that draft class, maybe on their board, but the universe is kind of aligned. So if you're GM Dave Ziegler, I'm going that. That's my blueprint. Look, the teams behind you are going to want a guy like CJ Stroud. If he's on the board at number 7 and you hyped him up through that draft process, that you're seriously considering CJ Stroud to Will Levis, because you don't know what the teams behind you, who they really like either, right? Because they're kind of not showing their, oh yeah, we really love, yeah, no, smoke screen. But you really have to do your due diligence. And if you're GM Dave Ziegler, I'm looking at this and hey, look, back in 2018, I saw but beast. No, it makes sense, right? Obviously, he probably knows this, but if he doesn't, which he does, every GM should know this. But back in, and look, let's just go back 2 years prior to that. Back in 2016, let's go back to Ryan Pace of the Chicago Bears to move back just one spot. Then GM Ryan Pace gave up a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick for the draft rights to go ahead and get Georgia product Leonard Floyd. So is it worthy just to move back one spot or two spots to only yield a fourth-round draft capital? No, not in this draft class. Maybe some other, not in this one based on, well, nah, it's not. It's not good. No. We want to go and swing for the fences. So if we're going to swing out of this number 7 pick, I want either multiple round 1 picks, or I want a round 1, round 2, round 3, or a round 1 and multiple round 2s. Or we ain't talking. Or give me a player. Right? Give me a player. On top of that. But it has to make financial sense. So the best bet is to trade into a cluster of draft positional needs, right? That's another thing, right? You don't want to trade too far down from number 7 where you're missing out on a tier 1 player that you have on your draft board. Again, this is where vertical board and horizontal board check out. You have to kind of, like, I'm telling you, there's different boards. You can't just go off your big board and be like, oh, yeah. It's like, no, man, because it's a marathon, not a race. You have to look at the positional needs based on the tiers. And, okay, if this position is top heavy, then we have to cut back here and so forth as the draft plays out. And then obviously, okay, you guys get it, right? So we can talk about this all day, all right? I love talking football. So the best bet is to trade into a cluster of draft positional teams ranging from the 11 to 13 range, I would say. Not top 10, get out of the top 10, but in the 11 to 13 range. Why? Because based on your positional needs, GM Dave Ziegler, and based on the 9 positional needs that I just pointed out, based on how my mock drafts stack up, as it currently stands today, you can get multiple draft picks in return, but it takes 2 teams to tango. You can't just say, oh yeah, I want to draft in the 11 and 13. It takes 2 to tango, right? Like it takes someone else to kind of make that trade work, like Rand Carthon, right? For the vice president player personnel, former vice president player personnel for the 49ers. Is he willing to strike a deal because he needs a signal caller? Or are you looking at the Houston Texans? GM Nick Caserio has multiple round 1 picks from the Deshaun Watson deal. Is he possibly going to give up number 12 to get the quarterback that he wants? And then you trade back to number 12 because the Ziegler, GM Nick Caserio, Patriot Way, Bill Belichick ties. Is that going to play a role in kind of striking a deal? You never know. Or you can double down on that or triple down on that and say, hey, look at the New York Jets. They need a signal caller. Are they going to go after Zach Wilson and keep Zach? No. They're going to trade. Hey, at number 7, if CJ Stroud's on the board, do they want to take the page out of the Cincinnati Bengals freaking playbook and reunite college teammates like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and do it with CJ Stroud and Garrett Wilson? Food for thought. But you heard it here first in the DOB. That's why we keep things hot. Just saying. Now, what is the likely draft capital, right? We just talked about those 3 teams, those 3 GMs, GM Joe Douglas, right? Jets GM, who you see in the thumbnail here. That's, who's that Jets guy? That's GM Joe Douglas, comes from obviously the Baltimore Ravens, right? And so you look at this and you say, hey, okay, let's back it up a little bit. Okay, so if you were to trade with the Titans at number 11, trade back from 7 to 11, always open 7-11. That's 4 spots. You can get number 11, number 42, and number 72 from the Tennessee Titans. That's a first, a second, and a third, just to move back 5 spots, because that's the asking price that I would ask for, right? You can't ask for multiple ones because they don't have it. You can't ask for something they have. Now, future draft capital, yes, you can kind of see that. And people go off the valuation. Look, the valuation chart is just a gauge. It really doesn't work out. I'm telling you, I keep downplaying that. Oh, well, the valuation chart says that. It's like, dude, you not understand. Again, you guys don't understand mock drafts. Look at the mock drafts. Look at the trades. If you believe and have a conviction about a player, you would give up the farm for that player. Anyways. Now let's look at the Houston Texans, GM Nick Caserio. If they trade back from 7 to 12, right, that's 5 spots. Move back 5 spots. They can get number 12, number 33, and number 65, which is the third round pick, or number 73. So 65 or 73, and that's a more likely scenario. Why? Because GM Nick Caserio knows how to leverage the draft, and if he wants that quarterback, he's going to go ahead and get that quarterback if he doesn't go after a veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo or someone else in free agency. And he knows that giving up one of my third round picks would be okay because I have 2 third round picks to play with. Again, it's called board manipulation. Love the draft. I love doing this. I know you guys are all waiting for this. I keep it hot. We keep it hot in here. All right. But getting back to it. All right. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about. We're just stuck right here. All right. So if you're doing the math and they move back to 11, 12, or 13 with the Titans, with the Texans, or with the Jets, and they move out of number 7, out of the top 10, that's cool. I'm down with it. Why? Because based on my mock draft, you can go after a guy and get like offensive tackle Broderick Jones out of Georgia. You can go after and get maybe an offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. out of the Ohio State University, because we know teams at the top always diminish the value of the pick. There's always that one or two GMs that like, oh yeah, let's reach for need, diminish the value of the pick, and then all these better players fall down the board. That's why GM Eric DeCosta from the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, Omar Khan, now formerly Kevin Colbert, do really well. They always draft for BPA. That's the Ozzie Newsome philosophy. Why? Because let me tell you something. All right. Because a luxury today can be a necessity tomorrow. That's why. A luxury today can be a necessity tomorrow. So why not just take the best player available? If you're top heavy in a position and he's the best player available by leaps and bounds, why not go ahead and get that player? Injuries can happen throughout the season, and now it's into necessity throughout the midseason. But then again, we weren't thinking that far ahead. Good depth. Now you can't just keep drafting wide receivers if you have like Devontae Adams and 2 Devontae Adams on the team. You're not going to draft a third Devontae Adams just because he's the best player on the board. That'd be dumb. Common sense has to come into play at some point. I'm just saying. Anyways, you can go ahead and get Broderick Jones. You can go and get Joey Porter out of Penn State. You can get Paris Johnson Jr., PJJ, I should say, out of the Ohio State University. Or defensive tackle Brian Bresee out of Clemson, who I really like. Really liked him. Injuries happen. His technique can need work, but you see the flashes on film. So, we can coach him up. We can coach this guy up because he has the NFL traits that we look for. But can he stay healthy? Is he mentally tough? Is he physically tough? We all know he is. But can he stay on the field? That's a huge question mark. And to take a guy in that range, I have to have a strong conviction and run the medical on that and say, hey, look, okay, well, I don't know. But with 3 top 75 picks, all right, with 3 top 75 picks, we're talking about this, right? And the valuation versus evaluation. GM Dave Ziegler now has draft board flexibility in what we like to call board manipulation here in the DOB. He can trade up. He can trade down. He already has second round pick number 38 and a third round pick number 70. So if he wants to leverage any of those multiple draft picks that he got from moving back from number 7 down to number 11, 12, or 13, he can trade up in the tail end of the first round and get a guy that otherwise someone in the top of the second was willing to hope that he drops and fell to them. Oh, dang it. Ziegler got him. He traded up in the tail end of the first. Happens every year. It happens every year. You see that one or two teams trade up in the tail end of the first because they know he's not going to last past the first 5 picks in the second. GM Dave Ziegler would not have that draft flexibility to go ahead and do that. Think about it. If I was to go in that press conference after these picks are made, after we talk to them, after they get drafted on the conference call, you guys know how that works. And then I go in the media workroom at Intermountain Healthcare Performance Center, right? At the UBO workroom. And I'm sitting there and you see all these players here. It's like, dang, that's three first-round picks. How'd that happen? Or that's a day 1 pick and 4 day 2 pick. What? Dave Ziegler can do whatever he wants, and he can fill a lot of different needs based on a trade down scenario from number 7. All right. You heard it here first in the DOB. 11. That's what I'm saying, the range, right? I'm not just saying, 7 to 9, 7 to. No, I'm saying outside the top 10 based on my analytics and the teams behind them that will likely make a move for a quarterback based on how I see the draft positional needs being playing a role right now, based without free agency and other things coming into play and other parameters. But yeah, absolutely. I see them trading in the 11, 12, or 13 range. Absolutely. The 11 to 13 range with the Titans, Texans, or Jets. Those 3 teams, I can see it playing out. If you want to go even below that, again, we have to see how the first few picks line up, because if one of those players lines up and there's a team behind them that otherwise, based on the GM's tendencies, would draft the best player available, then that player that they have in the cluster of players that they wanted at 11, 12, 13 may fall in the 15 to 16 range. Then you might trade back in the 15, 16 range and even pick up an additional pick after that. It's a game of chess, not checkers. This is how we do that in the DOB. Let's go. Let's go. And again, if I were to put this on paper and write an article about it for the Sporting Tribune or here in my beast writer, it would take forever. This would be a 5,000 word essay on just draft analytics alone. I don't know. I think this is more beneficial right now for what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish here in the DOB. The face-to-face interaction is always good thinking. I don't know. There's 42 of you guys watching. Dang, still 42 of you guys watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what we have to say on the valuation versus evaluation on the first top 10 picks, and then trading down in the 11 to 13 range as I see fit as the draft board currently stands. All right. The options are endless on what GM Dave Ziegler could do. Right. He can trade down. He can stockpile more round 2 picks, or he can stay put and just draft the best player available at the draft positional needs that they're at. Or he can trade some of this year's draft capital for next year's draft capital, for instance. What GMs like to do, if you're smart and you see the need is there and you see the value is there, and those 2 line up, and you have a top 2nd round pick, like let's say they strike a deal with the Houston Texans, and let's say they trade back from 7 to 12 and they get the 33rd pick overall on top of the 65th pick overall in the 3rd round. But let's just talk specifically about the 33rd overall pick. All right, top of the 2nd. Let's say that some team is willing to give up a 1st round pick for that 2nd round pick at the top of the 2nd round. And people will say, oh, that's different because of valuation. No, man. Again, you have to understand the team that you're dealing with too, because you have to forecast. This is the pro player personnel side. You have to forecast the strength of schedule, how you see that team actually finishing the season. If they're going to make the playoffs, if they're not, then you're getting a top 15 pick at best, right? Or top 18 pick, whatever the case may be, whatever that number is. And you're assuring at least that. So basically it's almost like a lock that you're going to get a top tier pick, right? Not in the bottom half of the 1st round, but the top half of the 1st round, if you have a strong scouting department or pro player personnel department. So again, if GM Dave Ziegler has a 2nd round pick and he said, and some team's willing to trade up and say, hey, we're giving you a conditional 2024 1st round pick, I do it, because in the following year, now you can leverage the draft again because you have multiple 1st round draft capital. I'm just saying, I'm excited. I'm excited because I think GM Dave, now watch all this be all nonsense, and GM Dave is probably watching this and, oh yeah, we're not going to do that. Beast Rider's dumb. We're not going to do that. We're just going to pick the best player available at 7. We're going to go at quarterback. Oh man, no, but it's not a bad idea, right? It's not a bad idea at the end of the day. My analytics, as it currently stands, point that way. Now, again, it could drop from 11 to 13 to 15 to 16 to 15 to 18 based on the teams ahead of them and what they do. Because again, as the draft unfolds, there's always these crazy trades and always these GMs who do dumb things. I'm not afraid to say it. GMs do dumb things. I pointed out in real time, like that was a dumb move. Beast receipts check out. So the trade scenarios I played out makes perfect sense for a team desperate to fill many holes, especially on the defense side of the football. Now, if you guys haven't followed me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, or follow me on YouTube, please do so at Beast Rider. All right. So YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Beast Rider. Just go ahead and look up that handle. And it's not like Beast, like rider, like riding a bike. It's like Beast Sports Rider. Like, so Beast Rider, like I'm a writer, Beast Rider. And you guys can follow me on those 3 respective social media platforms. Also, you guys can follow me on TikTok at Beast Rider. Also on, what else am I on? TikTok, Twitch at Beast Rider. Also on Facebook, obviously on Facebook, but it's not Beast Rider. It's Dark Side of Beast Rider. So people are asking what DOB stands for. DOB stands for Dark Side of Beast Rider, not date of birth. Dark Side of Beast Rider. Oh, it could be date of birth as well. Because technically this is my first year, right? So the date of birth would be 2022 in the DOB. Here in the DOB. The DOB here in the DOB. All right. So pretty much wraps it up. If you guys haven't heard the news, Coach Graham is now coaching the American team at the Senior Bowl, or sorry, the national team at the Senior Bowl. And I believe Coach Edwards, the D-line coach, is coaching the opposite side, and he'll be coaching the D-line. So it's really cool to see how that plays out as it comes to these college bowl games. I'm going to give you guys the full rundown on those. And I'm also going to give you guys a rundown at the East-West Shrine game. I'll be covering the East-West Shrine game here well, not here because I'm in the Bay Area, but in lovely Las Vegas once I go back there. And I'll be giving you the rundown on the East-West Shrine game, giving you guys, news and notes and quotes on players who I think would be a good fit for the silver and black, and why I think they're going to be why I think they fit the Raider way mold, right? And so, I think this is what's really cool, is because so much hype, and deservedly so, is placed on the Senior Bowl. And I love the Senior Bowl. I mean, one of these days I want to make it out and make it on a trip. So if I get enough super chats and stickers and stuff, I want to go on road games. I want to go in these, go and cover the Senior Bowl in Alabama, because I think that'd be a good way for you guys to get more information here in the DOB. So odds are, if you like my stuff, and you guys want to support the channel, please consider sending me a super chat or a super sticker. You guys can go ahead and do that, and it helps out the channel and really helps us grow here in the DOB. So yeah, man, I love doing that. It does us a lot of good. And thank you so much, everyone, for sending me those super chats. I got a lot of questions in here, whether it be on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And no, it really means a lot. I have a lot of fun doing this. But like I said, nothing is as clear cut as plugging a player and just saying, hey, this player is going to go to this team based on their needs. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't really work that way. And so I've been doing this for the better half of since 1999, 2000, right? 1999 was when I really got into it, but 2000s when I really hit it hard. I believe 1999 was the year that the 49ers, because if you guys know, I live here in the Bay Area, so I was a huge Niner fan. I'm not going to afraid to say it because it's all on social media. Before covering the Raiders, I was a Niners beat writer. Before becoming a Niners beat writer, I was a diehard Niner fan, had front row season tickets and all that cool stuff. But thanks to my parents over at Candlestick and now at Levi's. But getting back to it, it's one of those things where the draft, right? It doesn't matter if you're following the 49ers. It doesn't matter if you're following the San Diego Chargers at the time or the Carolina Panthers. You want to know who they're going to draft. And I always remember this. I believe the year was 2000. And there was a magazine that I would subscribe to called the Pro Football Weekly, right? And if you guys remember, this is like the AOL dial-up internet days, and whatever, the AOL dial-up internet days. And so we were all in these forums. You guys are in if you're as old as me, you know what I'm talking about. They weren't called forums; they were called chat rooms back then, right? They were called chat rooms, and you go and you have your own screen name, right? And so you go in these NFL chat rooms, and I'd be on all of the 32 NFL chat rooms. I'd just be talking football, and they think I'm a fan of that team. I'm not. I'm just talking about the team as if I were like the GM, even though I'm not a GM. But then like, oh yeah, I think this guy would be a good fit for this team. And it's funny. It's because then I kind of built my own community that way. But that all started back in 1999, 2000. And I always remember that. And I was like, I just liked football. I realized, yeah, I'm a huge Niner fan at the time, but I just really love football. just the game of football. Like you're for you for me at that age. How old was I? I think I was back in 1990. That was like freshman or sophomore in high school. But yeah, during those days, it was really one of those things where it's like, man, like I really loved the game. Like just loved it. So the best advice I can give anyone who wants to kind of go and really formulate your own mock draft, I say do it, right? Because you have to start somewhere. Just do it, put out what you think, and then cross check, right? So you want to cross check real time analysis in hindsight, right? Like, oh, I thought this player was going to be good, but why wasn't he good? Was he not a scheme fit? Did he not fit the mold of what the coaching staff wanted? Did he struggle because he was asked to play man coverage when he's really a zone guy? Like what are some differences in my analysis in real time that didn't cross check out in hindsight? And then you can kind of learn from that. See, that's the thing. The biggest thing that you want to do in life, again, goes back to being the best version of yourself, is grow. Like if you're not growing, you're not learning, right? Like you're going to grow one way or the other. That's why I asked Coach McDaniels at the end of his presser. I said, hey, whether you win or lose, lessons are learned. What are some lessons that you learned, in your first year covering the silver and black? And same thing goes for me. Like when I win shows, when I lose shows, there's always lessons that I learned. Obviously, I hate losing. I hate losing more than I like to win, right? Like I freaking hate losing. Like people know I hate, like it's a thing. Like you'll see it on my face. Then people like, it's not I'm a poor sport, but I just have this high expectation of myself that if I lose, like, nah, that ain't happening, bro. Like, yeah. Anyways, so all I gotta say is be the best version of yourself. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. If you guys have any questions, which you guys do, there's 36 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts. All right, so let's go ahead and get to some of your questions. There's a lot on here. All right. SVT Vasquez, my guy, says we trade Waller and our first to Chicago and get CJ, Brady, and Gronk. I think he means Gronk. He does. CJ Stroud, Brady, and Gronk. I don't think if you go after Brady that you necessarily want to go after and get. By the way, thank you for the comment. I'm just talking out loud. You could be right and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not saying you're right or I'm wrong. I could be definitely wrong. But I just logically thinking, and again, this is what I say is not necessarily what I would do if I was the GM, but how I actually see GM Dave Ziegler playing this out, right? And that goes with my mock drafts and everything else, my predictions and analysis, but surprise cuts and everything else. But when I look at this, and if you're going after a guy like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, some kind of seasoned veteran, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't want to invest your top 7 pick in a backup quarterback, right? You want to invest in a player who can win and help you out now. Why? Because the Super Bowl window is going to create that perfect storm. And if you have any kind of wiggle room and you kind of miss on any one of those dominoes, you're going to miss out on the opportunity of having that window open. And so that's why I think if you're going to go after a guy like Tom Brady, there's no way you're going to go after and draft a bridge quarterback for the foreseeable future. In fact, I think it's better served to just keep Jarrett Stidham and have Jarrett Stidham learn from Tom Brady and keep that rapport going. Because I like Jarrett Stidham. I love Jarrett Stidham. And in fact, you guys know what I said when I tweeted this out when Jarrett Stidham went in for that one play. I was like, what'd I say? I said, I'm excited to see Jarrett Stidham in there. Not because I wanted to see Derek Carr hurt. That had nothing to do with Derek Carr. It had more to do with Jarrett Stidham. I followed Jarrett Stidham. I would say I was probably one of the, in talking to the players on a day-to-day basis, he's the player that I talk to probably the most, or top 5, right? He's up there with Josh Jacobs and a few other players that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, Kyle Pecco. But, Duron Harmon, Jakob Johnson. But anyways, this goes on and on. There's a lot of players. But I'm saying he's one of the guys I talk to a lot. And so I was like, hey, he could spark the team. Not saying he was going to go like, oh, yeah, he's definitely going to spark. He should. But no, he could possibly, like, if you played sports, you know the dynamic of bringing in someone else when your team is stagnant. And he can potentially spark a team. That's why you see players in basketball come off the bench, because maybe they come off the bench and it's better for the team. It's better for the team rotation, right? Same thing happens, right? In football, right? You just never know. Sometimes you need a spark to kind of ignite the team, give the team a fresh look. Not saying it's a better player overall, but at the time, maybe it's the best option for the team and putting your team in the best position to make plays. All right, but no. I think it'd be better served if you go after Brady to go after a guy at number 7. That's not non-quarterback position. Salvador Bruno says, let's go and get a quarterback at pick number 7. Onto6 says, D-Mans, what's up? Should we draft Jalen Carter at number 7? Well, he's not going to last till number 7. I can tell you that right now. Jalen Carter will not last past the top 5 picks. And the reason I say that is because he's an interior pusher. One, throughout the season, because I run grades. I run grades on Jalen Carter the last few years. I have them. I ran the film. I have it. I'm set. I'm good. I know what he can and cannot do. There's not very many things he can't do. Now, from an interior rushing presence, he's a pocket pusher, and those are rare, right? Rarely do you find an interior, because just case in point, look at the Las Vegas Raiders, right? You have Andrew Billings has a strong fastball, right? He can bull rush, but then his plethora of pass rush moves kind of stop there. And so you need a 3-technique defensive tackle or someone on the interior who can really push the pocket on a consistent basis. Because in the pass-happy NFL, you're going to need that kind of consistent pressure to get in the quarterback's face and kind of throw off his timing up the gut. Not so much on the edges, because a quarterback can roll out. You can do a lot of different things. A lot of offensive coordinators can kind of scheme things up and roll protection his way, knowing that that edge rusher is going to get off and have a strong get off and kind of give that offensive tackle help. Right. But at the same time, I think it's better served that you go after and get an interior rusher. Unfortunately, I don't think Jalen Carter from Georgia is going to last till pick number 7. I don't think he's going to last past the top 5, especially with the Seahawks having their defensive wolves there. If he's sitting there at 5, I see John Schneider's pulling the trigger and going after him if he lasts that long, right? But yeah, thank you so much. I just want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone for sending me those super chats and super stickers. Appreciate it. All right. So who else do we got here? We got a lot. Thank you so much. He says, support our man on location. Likes are free. Yeah, likes are free, man. That's what I'm saying. So there's 37 of you guys watching. If we've been on for an hour and 36 minutes, let me just see what I got here. I gotta. All right, so since I'm back in the Bay Area, that was my cousin. She's gonna be here in 10 minutes. Anyways, we're gonna head off in a little bit. We got 10 minutes, so we're gonna use up all 10 minutes. She's probably watching this. That's why she's probably texting me. She's probably like, dude, he's doing a live stream right now. No, but thank you. All right, Onto6 says, Beast, what team holds the key to the draft? I honestly think the key right now, based on the current draft position and with free agency yet to play out and surprise cuts yet to play out and free agent signings yet to play out, I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders. I really do. I think the Las Vegas Raiders hold the key at number 7 based on the current draft position and positional needs based on all this without free agency taking place. It's going to be very interesting. And I'm very excited because I think the way the draft board is looking and the way the positional needs are set up, I'm excited for GM Dave. I am so excited for GM Dave Ziegler and Coach McDaniels and Coach Graham and Coach Lombardi. I'm excited for them. I'm excited. Can the guy get excited? Can the guy get excited in the offseason? Yes. I'm excited. Why? Because I think they're going to leverage this draft capital and the number 7 overall pick, and the guy's going to pay and freaking give up the farm, and the Raiders are going to be sitting looking pretty. BD Brooks 89 says, thanks for your hard work you put. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. My man, JP Edward de Dios, Arizona Cardinals fan, says, what's up, B-Dub? What's going on, man? I see you. He says, trade up with the Bears. Oh, man. All right. So Dylan Hawley says, hey, Beast, I'm about an hour behind, but I was wondering, do you think the Raiders take BP at 7 or take a position of need? That is a great question, Dylan, but you can always watch the playback. And then also for those who don't know, if you guys are watching this on the playback, you guys can send me a super thanks on the playback, or likes are free, comments are free. Just engage with us on this platform and share it on your social media. We're trying to grow the DOB, but don't. I want to say that because people don't understand that you guys can donate after the live stream ends. I always say super chats and on super stickers during the live stream, but then on the replay, YouTube was emailing me saying, "Hey, you know that if you tell people to send us super things, maybe you'll get that too after the replay." I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know I had that." So uh, YouTube's helping you out a bit. Probably saying, "Hey, man, you can make some money if you just tell people to donate on the replay." I always do it during the live streams and forget to do it on the replay. But no, if you're watching this in replay, and you guys want to support, just give it a thumbs up. You don't have to donate money, but if you want to, you guys can do that. That definitely helps out, obviously, because this is my 9 to 5. But if you're unable to, for whatever reason, all good. Just give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and we'll get back to you on the questions. But and getting back to your question, I think ultimately GM Dave Ziegler will always go BPA. For the most part, right? And you look at the horizontal board and vertical board, and then you mirror the two. And so, again, based on where their draft position currently stands and how I see fit, I think they're going to take the best player on their board based on their need, right? So, like for instance, like I don't see they're going after a wide receiver at number 7. I just don't see that, even though the wide receiver may be a top player or a highly coveted rated player on their big board or vertical board. I think they'll rather go after a 1A versus 1A on the horizontal board and tackle an offensive tackle. So I hope that answers your question. Phil Romero says, "Beast, is Jerry Porter the best cornerback coming out this year?" That's a great question. That is a great question. And to be honest with you, I like Joey Porter Jr. All right, I do like him. I'm not so sure he's the best cornerback in this draft class. It's the same analysis when I look at the top tier cornerbacks coming out of 2014, and you guys can check out the Beast Receipts on Twitter. I posted this up in my articles, and everyone's hyping up Justin Gilbert. I said, this guy's going to be a bust. I said, and people, "Oh, who's this guy, Beast Rider? Like, who's he saying?" Like, I said, "Nah, man, this guy's going to be a bust coming out of Oklahoma State, dude. He's going to be like another Rashawn Woods. He's going to be like another R.W. McQuarters. If you guys don't know who those guys are, look them up. Oklahoma State products." Anyways, I said, this guy going to be a bust. He's a bust. He ended up being a bust. I'm not saying Joey Porter is going to be a bust. He's not on that level. I think he's a very good cornerback. I just don't know if he's the best cornerback in this draft class. I'm not as high as other people are. I think this cornerback draft class is not the strongest. To be honest with you, I think it's kind of a weak cornerback draft class. So I think all these players get kind of elevated up. And again, like I said earlier in the live stream, not every player that gets drafted in the first round has a first round grade, right? But yet 32 picks are made because you have to make those picks. And so again, I'm not saying in any other given draft is Joey Porter a first round grade, surefire first round pick. I wouldn't say he's a top 15 pick. I would even question if he's a top 20 pick. I would say he is a tail end. Got to be careful here because I do have to watch a little bit more game film. I would say this. I'm going to reserve comment on that, but I will say he's not a surefire top 15 pick like I was as high on Pat Surtain coming out of college at this time around draft time when I said the Denver Broncos and George Paton did a hell of a job getting Javonte Williams out of North Carolina in the second round, and then also had Pat Surtain and Brandon Browning and all these other guys that they drafted, Quinn Miners. If you guys missed that draft class, you guys need to see what I had to say in real time on that. But no, that's why I thought Pat Surtain was going to be, and again, we're talking about the number 9 pick overall, right? I believe he was drafted number 9. I said Pat Surtain is going to be the next best thing since 2000 when Almond Plummer came out in terms of being fundamentally sound and being NFL pro ready. And so we saw what we see, the real-time Beast Receipts check out in hindsight. So I'm not so sure on Joey Porter, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Now, I do like what he brings to the table from an NFL trait standpoint. I'm just not so sold on his consistency level yet, if that makes sense. Noah says, "Will you be attending the Senior Bowl?" Unfortunately, I did not make enough money to even attend road games this year. To be quite 100% honest, I have to pay my own way. I'm self-employed, so I pay my own way. So the super chats and super stickers definitely help out. So if you guys want to see me go and cover the game, I will go ahead and do that. And we are saving all the money is set aside for that, with the super chats, the super stickers, the super thanks. And then also, if you guys want to donate through Venmo, in the description box below. I always have my Venmo linked, and you guys can go ahead and just drop a donation there as well. But to answer your question, no, it was just too expensive. I wouldn't be able to make the trip, although I could get credentials to go. If you guys follow me on Twitter, obviously Senior Bowl tagged me in their post, and they also retweeted some of my stuff and content. And they did it last year around this time with my workout videos, my Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup workout videos. That's always fun times. But no, I would like to go. And I am saving money to go on the road games and then hopefully some of these college all-star games as well. But yeah, to answer your question, no, not this year, but I will be covering the East-West Shrine game. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. My cousin is here. She's probably watching this right now. She's calling right now, so I got to get going. If you like what I had to say, please give this video a thumbs up, drop your comments, and also hit the subscribe button if in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Beast Rider out.